sit down with you. How long have you been here for, and what's the business?
So my business is called Elite Mind and Body. We just rebranded in the last couple months, but we've been here for 2.5 years now. Moved to Manotick 3.5 years ago through COVID, and decided to bring the personal fitness and journey to the neighborhood. So I focus on personal fitness, strength and conditioning with a unique style of mental resilience, stress management.
Okay.
My niche clientele is more specifically around the high stress lifestyle clients. I've had that experience myself before, so I tend to do that with I have a 10-year background in mental health and counseling, so I combine everything.
Great.
Yeah.
Did you go to school for that?
I did, yeah. I went to Algonquin College, graduated probably 12 or 13 years ago now,
Okay.
in the Child and Youth Work program.
So how did you get started in this?
In this?
Specifically?
Fitness has always been something super important to me. When I was younger, in my early 20s, I was quite overweight, and I decided, time to be done with that. So I lost about 100 pounds.
Nice.
And then I had my own personal trainer from there, and that relationship grew into some sort of mentorship. And so I got my certification. He owns his own certification company.
Oh, great.
And that's kind of how I did it. And then when COVID hit, people couldn't go to gyms anymore, and things were closed down, and I couldn't go to a gym anymore. So I built my own, and I decided as a side business to start training people with that focus on physical and mental health.
How do you decide to connect with the fitness goals versus the mental fitness goals?
Yeah. Like, how do I do it with clients?
How did you decide to do that? And what made you decide to do the two of those together?
Well, I think, my 10-year career in youth mental health and counseling, something that comes up quite a bit is the lack of physical movement and the significant correlation between physical health and mental health, right?
So, totally agree.
If you are, struggling with, stress or anxiety or all of that kind of stuff, something that may help cope with that kind of thing is the physical movement.
Okay.
And that's kind of where I got the idea from.
Okay. So is that what drives you actually to do what you're doing? Is basically, is it first stress or the mental aspect, or is it more the physical? What's first in your mind?
So I don't know. That's a good question. I think more of the health as a whole, as a intertwining complexity of what we call deep health, right?
Okay.
So something that comes from my mental health background is I'm able to really look at change behaviors and how do I instill those long-term sustainable behaviors into people, and fitness is one of them. So that's just kind of part of it.
Now, as part of the fitness as well as mental, do you get involved with the food aspect of it?
Yes, yeah.
Very
So
good.
I have a sports and performance nutrition certification.
Okay.
So I can do some basic nutrition teaching and coaching and stuff like that. I am very careful about what my scope is.
Sure.
I don't like to, if you've got diabetes or you come in with
fair.
a complex situation,
Sure.
you're going to a nutritionist or a dietitian, right?
Sure.
But the basic average person, I can take a look at that nutrition piece.
Okay, good. As they say, you are what you eat,
Mm-hmm.
and that's true. We've been finding that out in the last little while. So
Exactly, and there's so much misconception and different information out there. And so I've got tons of clients that come to me and say, I read this, and this is what I've been told, and this is what I that. So my whole philosophy around nutrition is include, don't omit. So include more whole foods, include more, of the better stuff for you.
legumes and vegetables.
As sustainable, right? So if you want to be keto, go be keto. If you want to be vegan, go be vegan. But it's got to be sustainable for you. So you got to be able to do this on a long-term basis.
Kind of like a diet every New Year's. Everybody makes these lofty diets, and 93% never follow through.
Because they're not sustainable.
They're not
right?
sustainable.
They make you feel, not great, and you're so restrictive, and so and that's, I think, the mental health background piece that I have also plays into part of that because I've seen what it looks like when you have restrictive eating disorders or when the mental toll it takes to, you know, have that body dysmorphia. And that's kind of what I do, and I help clients identify what those, you know, interventions are that can be sustainable for them, and then how do we implement them. I see quite a lot of entrepreneurs, people that own their own businesses. I see quite a few first responders because they have that, you know, very chaotic lifestyle with shift work and all of those, you know, baggage that comes with being a first responder.
Sure.
I see some government employees in high executive positions. So those are kind of the clientele that I have now.
Is there something that you'd like people to know about your business that maybe it's not so obvious?
It's a lot more affordable than you think.
Okay.
You know, I have a very specific scope of what I do, and I'm not a registered psychotherapist, so I'm not charged as a registered psychotherapist or any of that stuff. So, and you know, a personal training service and wellness service like mine is a lot more affordable than some of the bigger, you know, bigger companies.
Sure, of course.
Right? So I've got a lot less of an overhead cost to do that.
Do you have weekly schedules? Is this all posted on your website?
I do have a website. It's elitemindbody.ca.
Elitemindbody.ca. Elitemindbody.ca.
Yeah. And actually, as of yesterday, it is all up. You can book online. You can learn about all the services I provide. I will be adding a lot more content and services. Just before you came, I was working on a 10-day workshop for meditation. So just those kind of little things, but it's all on there.
Yeah, what kind of meditation are you following? Is there from Buddha? There's many different types.
Honestly, it's all around, for me, it's all around mindfulness and just being a little bit more in tune with your body, and understanding, you know, where the stressors lie and, you know, what you can and what you cannot change, right? Because that's a big one, right? A lot of people get super stressed out around, you know, events in their lives, and one of the ways to manage that stress is to understand what you can change and understand what you can't, and start to you know, really focus on those things. So that's kind of how I work with the mindfulness piece.
So having said that, what are the goals that people that are coming in here want to achieve? Other than the obvious, well, I mean, there's an end goal. I'm assuming they don't want to do this forever.
Yeah.
So there's maybe a short-term questionnaire that they have to fill out, or maybe a long-term plan that they want to do. How do you measure that, or how do you approach that when dealing with a specific client? Like you said, is it a doctor, or is it somebody who's very depressed or overweight?
Yeah. So I take a look at first. I'll take a look at your current lifestyle. Right, so, you know, what are you eating? How much are you moving? What are your current stressors? What does your family look like? You know, what is your support system? And then from there, I start to identify, you know, what is your current motivation to change, right? Because that's a big piece. Is, you know, if your motivation is, you know, secondary to is just like a impulsive idea, right? It's not going to be sustainable, right? So, you know, I have some clients come in and say they've had this injury and they want to get back. Or I've had some clients come in and say, like, listen, my mind is down in the dumps. I'm working all the time. I don't feel great in my family, and I used to be really fit, and now I'm not. So how do I do that? So then I identify the change pattern, and then from there, I'll be able to instill a program, whether, you know, it's 3 days in gym with me. I have some online stuff that they can use and all that stuff. The end goal is to build the skills within the client, and then they can go in and go do it on their own.
Okay, great. Well, you make it comfortable for them. So is there more long-term or short-term clients?
So right now, I have more long-term clients.
Okay.
So I've got clients that I started with 2.5 years ago. The longest client I currently have, the shortest client I currently have is about a year. So I've been, you know, able to keep those clients ongoing. A lot of my clients tend to have such a busy lifestyle that they're not able to schedule their own time in the gym. So
Sure.
they find
Right.
that when they've got a pre-scheduled appointment, it's a lot easier to come in.
Okay. So, is there anybody? What do your customers say when they leave? Before they come online? What do they say they love most about your business?
What they love most, I think, is that I have this personality where I can kind of listen to you as you go, and I know when to challenge and when not.
Okay.
I think that's what makes me unique, and I think that's part of my counseling piece.
Okay, great.
Is like you come into my gym and you're not feeling great. Typically, you leave feeling a lot better,
Sure.
and both emotionally and physically, right?
Sure.
So, I know when and what type of profiles will need that extra push,
Okay.
and what type kind of need me to sit back and let them do it on their own.
Okay. Typically, how long are the sessions for?
Anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay. You kind of keep it within that.
Yeah,
And that's is that the mental part of it, or is that the physical
that's
part
the
of
physical part of it.
it? Okay. And so the mental, is that a separate hour
So
or?
no, it's all intertwined.
Okay.
So within that hour, and then just like any sort of skill building, there's going to be some stuff you got to do on a
Okay.
regular basis, right? So,
Sure.
I'll talk to a client about, what is your daily stress management look like,
Okay.
and then I'll say, hey, let's try this for the next couple of days. Come back to me in your next session and tell me how it went.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Any odd requests?
I get a lot of requests that are way outside of my scope, right? So I've had a client come in and say, I've got MS and I need to, fix my spine.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's
Yeah,
way
sure,
past
fair
me.
enough.
So that kind of stuff. No, not really. Not like some super odd ones.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what brought you? Said you moved here recently.
Yeah,
Where were you before?
we were in Orleans.
Early.
Yeah.
Okay. What brought you out here?
Honestly, our old landlords were selling the place. It was mid-COVID, and we found this place and just decided, let's go for it.
Okay.
So I'm not a country person.
Okay.
I grew up in the city, and I love it, and I'll probably never go anywhere else.
I just had the same thing with myself. Grew up in
Yeah.
Montreal, and now I'm in the country. I want to stay here.
I would never ever go anywhere.
Go back there. I know
Love the
too.
area.
What do you like most about this neighborhood of Manotick?
So around this area, specifically, I like the space. I like the ability for my kids to run around and feel safe there.
Yeah.
We built a really good relationship with our neighbors
Good.
around. They all have kids that are same
Okay.
age as us. So
How many kids do you have?
So I have two.
Two?
Yes.
Young?
Yeah, 4.5 and 2.5.
Great, great. That's really nice. What favorite restaurants in the neighborhood?
Babos.
Wow, okay.
I'm celiac, so
Okay.
they have had a really, really good gluten-free pasta that,
Yeah.
and every time I eat there, I have no issues. So it's-
Yeah, they're always there. We're super in there. A lot of good restaurants in town,
Yes.
as you know. Any significant changes since you've moved here? How long have you moved here for?
So I've been here, we're going on 3.5 years.
3.5. Anything? Not much has changed, I guess. Because of
Not
COVID?
much. No, not much really. It's been built up a little bit.
Okay.
But other than that, no, nothing crazy.
Is there something that people don't know about you that you kind of want them to know, but you kind of never say it?
Not a whole lot. Well, I have my youngest daughter is super medically complex. So
Okay.
that's something that I don't talk about a lot,
Sure.
but definitely it's there.
It's there.
Yeah.
So that probably gets you into what you're doing now.
Yes.
So-
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with how do we manage the stressors in our life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
For the longest time, I was a shift worker in the healthcare field, so
Okay.
I get what nights do to you. I get what 12-hour shifts do to you. I get what complex medical kits do to you. So
Sure.
helping others manage that
Yeah.
stress is
What are some of the biggest? What's the lowest part in your life for starters? And then I'm going to ask you what's the highest part, the highest point.
lowest part in my life was probably the first year my youngest daughter was born. She was hospitalized over 7 times.
Okay.
A couple surgeries, and she's got a feeding tube in her
Sure.
stomach, and it's a lot of work
Yep.
to kind of help figure out what's going on with her. So, but probably the third or fourth admission, where it's just, I'm working full time.
Yeah, sure.
Working full time. I'm managing my oldest as
Sure.
well, and being, a husband and a father, and the provider, and all of that stuff is just. It was difficult, so
Yeah, I
it's
guess
probably
so.
one of the lowest times.
Well, look where you are now. What's the highest?
When both girls were born.
There you go.
That's for sure the highest moment.
I get that all.
When they both were born, it was unbelievable.
Oh, that's awesome. What's your, speaking of highs, what's the most memorable customer experience you've had so far? Clients.
So I've got a client who she's been with me for we're going 2 years now, and we relate very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
We have very similar personalities, we have very similar upbringings, we have very similar family dynamics, and so I think she would be the most relatable one, and the one that I look forward to working with.
Always good to know that, because you look forward to that kind of client. Any other interests that you'd be doing besides any of this? What would you be doing? Hobbies?
I don't
Sports.
so the gym is one of my hobbies.
Sure.
So that's kind of what keeps me going. Whether it's 4 a.m. or 4 p.m. doesn't really matter, but it does help that I roll out of bed and just come down here.
Of course, yeah.
So that's a big one. I do like doing yard work. So I like to just get on the mower and mow around.
Okay.
I would love to have more time to work on a car or stuff like that. 2 young kids, a business, and so. But that's kind of the rest is family time.
Of course.
Yeah.
What about speaking of family? What's the best childhood moment that you've had? Do you remember that? What stands out?
When my youngest daughter turned 1, and I think that's the fondest memory because we weren't sure whether she would or not.
Right,
So,
sure, fair enough.
Once she hit that 1 year mark, and we were able to celebrate, and it was great.
What about childhood memory for you?
For me, what
What do you remember?
do I remember? Honestly, wow, that's a good piece. And so just playing ball hockey on the street and just having fun and not having any life stress.
I was going to ask you about that too. Now, when you're talking about stress and mental wellness, do you get involved? Not involved, but do you ever touch base with the reality that we're in with the technology, cell phones, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's always in your face.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it causes a lot of anxiety for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If they can't put it down, kind of thing.
Yeah, it causes a lot of anxiety, and it causes a lot of comparing yourself, right?
Yeah.
So if you go on social media, all you're going to see is the best parts of everybody's life, right?
Yes.
So then you sit there, and then a lot of people will take that in and then tend to feel inadequate, or their life isn't going the way they want to.
Yeah.
And so what I do is I try to change that mindset, right, around stop comparing yourself to others and look what's in. A little bit more positive thinking, a little bit more of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's the instant gratification that we have in society, right? So there's a lot of people have a hard time with I want to get in shape, I want to lose 20, 30 pounds, but I don't want to do it over 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Right? So we get into, the really big fad diets and all that stuff.
I do it right now.
Right? Exactly. And that's just a society we're in, right? You want batteries, you order it from Amazon, and it's at your door tomorrow, right? So there's that piece, and then there's also a piece of, technology has taken some of the human interaction away.
Yep.
Which is why in my business I try not to do a lot of online virtual stuff.
Yeah.
I like to do the in-person stuff because I find that we get a little bit more of a connection,
Sure.
and I can build a little bit more of that with the client in person.
Okay, well, it makes sense. When your life is over, how do you want to be remembered?
Good father,
Yeah.
good husband, and somebody who provided a meaningful service to the world.
Good, and you're doing that now, I can see.
Yeah.
That's
Thanks.
clear. Just talking to you. Anything quirky about you that you like that other people don't know? Anything weird?
Yeah. I nothing super weird, like out of the ordinary. I'm a night owl, so
Yeah,
I
sure.
will just like stay up all night and do
Okay.
nothing. And
It's different. Yeah.
one of the hardest parts I find about my life and what I do is practicing what I preach.
Sure.
Right? Like I talk about sleep and recovery and all this lovely stuff, and I get 4 hours of sleep a day. That's just who I am, and I think a lot of it is shift work for 10 years.
Sure,
but,
of course. Yeah.
yeah. Like,
Where were you working before?
so I was working in a healthcare field.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, awesome. This has been really good. If there's anything else that you'd like to say, we can say it on the website. The Park Bench website's you're gonna be able to access that and show all this video off, of course, to potential clients. How do people get a hold of you?
So I have social media. I have Facebook pages, Instagram, Elite Mind Body. For both of those. The website. The website's probably the easiest way. It's a quick little fill out a consultation form and
Okay.
you can book a free consult. So I always
Okay.
offer free consultations.
Okay. How long does that last?
About 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason for that is, just like a partnership or a relationship or anything like that, we've got to jive. Our
Okay.
personalities have to jive. You have to kind of so some of the questions I'll ask are a little bit intrusive, and you've got to be able to feel comfortable with that,
Sure.
right? So,
Okay.
and vice versa, I got to feel that you're going to be a good client to
Of course.
suit. And if you're not, then that's completely okay, and I can maybe refer you to one of my
Awesome.
colleagues or something like that. But so I always offer free consultations, and you can book those on the website.
Oh, that's great. This has been great, Marcel. I'm Ron Ward from Remax Absolute Realty, and this is my good friend, Marcel from Elite Mind and Body Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Let's go do some workouts.